Welcome to the Extraordinary Leadership Podcast. This is a place for you if you aspire extraordinary, fueled with inspiration, meaningful conversations, and valuable insights that are going to support your journey of becoming an extraordinary leader and making truly a difference in your organization and living a desired life. My name is Dagmara Asbreuk and I am your host in this show, and I'm also founder and CEO of Extraordinary Leadership. I'm bringing you exceptional leaders, change makers from different industries, sharing their stories, and above all, what made them most successful, impactful, and happy. I'm also sharing my discoveries from navigating and leading 15 years in a corporate world, building my business, and empowering senior and executive leaders to go to their next level with their organizations and in their lives. I hope that you are excited and ready, so let us begin. Do you believe that working hard will really bring you to extraordinary success, impact, elevating your organization and business to exponential height, and creating a life that you truly desire? Well, actually, it will not, because working hard is a mode of operation that is really limited. I'm grateful to have discovered a different way of operating and leading and living, which is accessible for all of us and enable us to have it all without needing to compromise, with much more ease, joy, and flow. And this is exactly what we are going to discuss in this episode together with Lenka Lutonska, who is a master of business energetics, an author of Energy Selling, and my coach. And in this episode, we dive into this highly potential operating mode, living and leading from place of being more rather than doing more. So if you struggle with business, hustling, and working hard and want to embrace more ease in leadership and life, then this episode is for you. So I am really truly honored and have a great pleasure to welcome today Lenka Lutonska. And I can't wait to start this conversation. So welcome, first of all, Lenka, on the show.
Thank you so much. It's my great pleasure to be here. Thank you.
We'll be diving today into one of the key strategy for leaders / entrepreneurs as well, which is about energy. What drove you to this topic of energy and why you do what you do?
Sure. Well, it started a long time ago, but what drew me here, or what got me into really focusing and mastering and sharing and teaching energetics of extraordinary business growth, so connecting and marrying the world of energy and spirituality to very tangible world of business strategy, is a period in my life roughly 10 years ago when I had it really, really tough. As in previous to that, I was already building a business of my dreams where I was doing what I loved. However, it came to complete halt. I went into the very unhealthy business partnership, and essentially my business completely dwindled down. I lost all that I had and whatever I built. And with that, I lost a sense of who I am. Because previous to that, I was pretty successful at what I was doing, was working with leaders of large companies, scientists, etc., etc. And when all that went, and when money went, my confidence and who I am, that self-identity went as well. So I found myself in a period that lasted almost 2 years. That was like hell on earth, when I was really, really trying to rebuild my business from scratch again. But what I found was that the second time it was so much harder than the first time, even though I had behind me 7 years of business experience. Because what I no longer had was that youthful naivety where I just went with the blinkers on my eyes first time and, sold my house or half of the house I owned, sold everything I got, and everything comes here and failure is no option. And it worked, but I no longer had it. I had 2 young kids at this point, was married, responsibilities, and especially confidence. So that combination doesn't gel well with building a successful business. So what I overcompensated with, and this is the case for, unfortunately, many otherwise very powerful business owners and leaders, is I overcompensated with action. So I would find myself working 15, 16, sometimes 20 hours a day to really do whatever I could to make my business work. All I wanted to do is to do what I love, which is for me is always has been coaching, training, teaching, and be paid for it. But it didn't matter how hard I worked. It didn't matter how much experience I had. The clients literally evaded me. I felt invisible. So, I financially struggled, really struggled. That created that overworking and, trying and failing, that also created crisis in my marriage. We had a divorce paper on the table. So I was going through a tough time, but the desire to be of a purpose and to find in me to be in inwardly and financially rewarded state. So as I was looking for the answer for the millionth time, I just took a little time to sunbathe in our modest garden. And I was asking myself, what do I need to do to make this work? What do I need to do because I'm working so hard, but what does it actually take to make this work? And I experienced a rather bizarre moment when what felt like a millisecond, I received all the answers at once. And I was literally given the answer or answers. And the chunk of it was, there was this question or almost like a whisper, what would you do if you didn't care what other people thought about you? Mm-hmm. And after that whole array, when I answered that question, whole array of information, because up till that point, unfortunately, I was driven by fitting into the box. I wanted to come across as professional. I was working with these big business leaders. So, being professional and being respected was super important to me. But when I answered this question, what would I do? What if I didn't care? Then immediately, I would know exactly what to do if I really, really didn't care. And it was connecting the world of energetics and spirituality with the world of strategy. And from there, immediately it put the belly on my fire. And at that point, I had nothing to lose. Like I had literally nothing to lose. So even though I was very nervous about it, I came out of my spiritual closet. And at the next entrepreneurial event, I introduced coaching program and a mastermind with the element of energetics and spirituality. And I remember to this date how it was for women leaders and entrepreneurs event, how the women's eyes lit up, and the mastermind filled up very quickly, and it was the taste of what to come, or it certainly gave me courage to continue on this path. So I took some big steps, such as, I was running some entrepreneurial masterminds offline, and I charged very little money for it. So I let go all of that tiny little income I had and went online. Essentially, I proclaimed myself, or I stepped into the identity that I'm going to be an international mentor and coach, working with energetics of the business. And from there, the growth of my business, the personal growth, and then the growth of many, many women became very, very rapid, very, very rapid. And it brought me to who I am today, running a very, very successful business, serving clients from over 50 countries around the world. Wrote a book maybe 4 years ago that has been doing really, really well, energetic selling and marketing. And it's so joyful. But that what got me into the world of energetics, if you're asking, that moment in that garden.
Yeah, so that was like the enlightenment in this story. And, that is something I'm noticing many extraordinary leaders, actually, like yourself, have this experience of desperation that you actually experienced, right? Like a very difficult time, and kind of not knowing what to do, and surrendering yourself, right? And asking for some type of guidance, and then allowing yourself to let go of something that was holding you back to create what is yours, and stepping fully into that version of yourself, that woman that you are today, and making a desired impact. So such a, inspiring story, of course, for everybody that listens here today, and with a clear message of, surrender and listen, and abandon something as well on the way in order to step into that. So today you work with many different business owners, and I know obviously you work today as well, because I'm one of those women that also part of one of your programs. So I'm grateful also for all the learnings as well there. So let us unpack, what is this energetics? What is the energy?
Of course. Let's simplify. I mean, energy, as we know, everything is energy, even though we perceive the world as I am separate from the world, I'm separate from this table, I'm separate from you. On a subatomic level, if you look, it's all energy vibrating at different frequencies, interacting with each other. So we are deeply connected through energy with everything and everyone. But perhaps the easiest way to explain why energy and our personal energy is so important is, I'm sure you sometimes in past walked into a room and you naturally navigate towards certain people, on maybe somebody walks in and the whole room stays quiet because it's like everything stops, like this is no good. Something is happening here. Have you ever experienced something like? Yes. And then you have people who are just so magnetic. It's like you've been called to them. So what is this? It's our energy field. It's, I call it personal energy. It's, the values that we hold, beliefs that we hold, who we know that we are. And that I call sometimes our, human mind, program mind. It's called a comfort zone, a current self. It's got many, many names, but this is who we currently are. But what's beyond that lower mind is the higher aspect of ourselves, beyond the logical mind. And it's the mind that we tap into when we are visioning, when we are thinking our potential and what choice we would like to make next, when we open our mind and go beyond what is possible. So this is essentially also aspect of our energy, but essentially to me, this is the synonymous for the soul or soul self, the full self, if you like, the higher mind. And the higher mind is the aspect of us that creates the ideas. The lower mind is receiving the ideas. With our physical brain, we receive the ideas. Sometimes, of course, a little clouded with our perceptions, belief system, etc., etc. But why is it important to work with our energy is because when we are not in alignment with our full self, with that potential that we hold, with that vision that we dare or not dare to go there and claim it, then everything becomes more difficult. We have distorted beliefs and our energy is influencing whatever we do, whether we like it or not. Because our energy really does introduce us even before we speak. We communicate with others energetically. And then it really affects everything we do in a business, in organizations, the way we build teams, the way we go about marketing or selling it. It affects every single aspect of business and leadership. So this is why it's really useful to attend to our personal energy and to lean into that beyond the logic. I know it's not common, or we're not used to it. We're not brought up like that, because typically how we were brought up is you'll achieve your success with the super hard work, with this or that. And that it's not that it can't create success. Sometimes it creates amazing success, but it has got the limits, it creates burnt out leaders, it creates unfulfilled leaders, it creates stressed leaders. And there is whole other option if you look at the business and leadership in a little bit more holistic way.
Yeah, I love a couple of points you mentioned, and you know when you were sharing what is this energy, right? And of course, it's what we emanate and what we communicate with, and it's our consciousness, right? In the end, it reflects our consciousness, and it did took me time, even before discovering your work. Year before, 2 years before, actually, I stumbled into another framework very similar, very close. That's why I love the work of extending on it, building on it with yourself, which introduced me for the very first time actually to these two parts of self. The parts of, we can call it ego mind as well, right? Or ego self, or current self, or the part that is limiting us today. And something bigger, something different, true self, higher mind, higher self. We use different names, right? Yeah, for kind of similar actually aspects. So it's not part, I would say, of as you mentioned, the reason why we're actually not utilizing or leveraging of that is because we are not exposed to that. We don't have access very, very early. Actually, it's brought in any leadership courses as well. So that
and yet, this is exactly from that higher mind where the most powerful inventions in the history of humankind come from. This is where the most profitable ideas come from. There was a study of 13,000 business executives, and they found out that the greatest leaders and business executives of today, they attribute over 80% of their huge success to their intuitive thinking. Where does the thinking come from? That comes from the deeper, higher mind. That's the link between intuition, is the link between the higher mind and the physical mind. So yes, it's not a science. It's not something culturally fully accepted, even though it's very quickly become the norm, which is amazing to see. But it's something that every one of us, I think, will come at some point. And you know what? I'm going to lean a little bit and become at least open to look at my life, look at my role in the organization, look at my business a little differently.
Yeah, it's more connecting with who you truly are at the essence as well. And absolutely, Jeff Bezos from ex-Amazon as well, he took most of the decisions from the space of intuition. I think Steve Jobs also was talking about that. So many famous leaders actually, I guess, tapped to that wisdom and utilize it, because a lot of leadership decisions are complex. And at some moment, our logical mind is limited into getting the decision that is fully aligned with the business direction, with ourselves as leaders. So that's also another access to another wisdom, another much more powerful insight that we can tap to, and part of our potential, as you said. You mentioned already, actually, also the benefits, right? You just thinking aloud now, what I've heard is this aspect of how much it's changing us, how we are going to show up, right? When we are acting from the space of our logical mind, or our lower mind, you call it, and a higher mind. This is completely affecting with energy we are going to carry and unleash in our teams and organization, in a system, and of course how it does affect us. So what's your view on that?
Absolutely. Again, I would like to simplify here and at least offer something a little more tangible. Perhaps one of the easiest way to start looking at working from the logical mind and from where I am, and if you like, the tapping more into the intuition and the higher mind, is to look at it as reactive and creative consciousness, because our mind very much likes to be part of the fold. Like, I've got to fit in, I've got to be safe. And it's prone to very linear thinking, which has its role, absolutely. But beyond linear thinking, there is a lot more than that. So most people, most of the time, go about solving their problems and reaching their goals in whatever sphere, over relying on the logical mind. and go about it very linearly. And they fall into what I call reactive consciousness. It's when we are looking at the outside, as in, and create and go about decision making, etc., from that thing. So we satisfy that environment. We mimic the environment. How do other people do it? What's currently trending? What do I need to do so people will buy? What do I need to create so it will be very popular? What do I need to do to fix this? Etc. So it's very much, what do I need to do so that, I can get some benefit. So I'm looking on outside and often mimicking, oh, that works, let me take it. That works, let me take it. And again, it's not to say that it doesn't work, but if it did work, I think at this point, everyone would be a millionaire and everyone would be a magnificently successful and fulfilled leader, because all the blueprints and step-by-steps and do it this way has been already offered free on a Facebook,
It's world, right?
Right. So it works at times because there's, again, energy, underlying aspect of energy. So one of the greatest things that we can do for ourselves is not only use the logical mind in our creation and decision-making, etc., It's to also tap into the higher consciousness, or I call it creative consciousness. Now, the basis of it is that how would I love to do this? Which for some is brand new concept. Like, what do you mean? But I'm doing this for my customers. I'm doing this for my teams. I'm doing this to satisfy other people. But what if we go on the idea that we're not that separate as our eyes and ears would think, that we're connected and that other people, be it our other coworkers, team members, customers, shareholders, etc., are reflection of our consciousness and we are experiencing ourselves through them. So what if we acknowledge that we are attracting people, kinds, etc., they are close enough to our frequency because we are experiencing, it's still us, it's just a mirror of our consciousness. So then what if we allow ourselves to create a whole new experience for me, but also for everyone else? So instead of asking, what do I need to do to fix this? What do I need to do so it's popular, people will buy, team will accept this, What if I go on everything on how would I love to do this? How would I love to do this? And do I like this option or this option more? What expands my heart more? I'm sorry to say, it's almost a revolutionary approach for many people, but yet this is exactly the approach that is behind your iPads and success it had. That's how Steve Jobs came up with it. Nobody ever asked him, I want iPad, I want something bigger than iPhone, smaller than computer. Can we have it? Nobody asked him. But it came from him. What would I love? Oh, I want this to be in almost every household. And it became true. That's pure creative consciousness. This is how the biggest hits in music are being born. When the famous producers, and I recently watched an interview with one of those, how he gets the best art and, the best hits then from the big stars. He said, the main thing that I watch out is that they don't go and create so it charts well, or it's the trendy. The creative process always needs to be, do I like this more or do I like this more? What is my preference? What do I like? That's creativity. And that creativity is really helping not just us to be full of joy, full of that fire in a belly when we go about creating change in organizations, when we go about setting new vision and going after it, growing businesses, but it benefits absolutely everyone.
Yeah, this higher consciousness or creative consciousness, first of all, is obviously helping us to, or giving us an access to much more creative and innovative ideas, solution, breakthrough thinking, which has been, is happening. What I'm hearing, the second very important part is with this connection, what I would love to do is bringing you to actually connect with yourself and become more of your authentic self.
Yes.
That's another gateway to, it's another way we can actually find it all. And I think it's a very powerful perspective, what you mentioned, understanding that people really mirror us and they are a reflection of our consciousness. And it's such a powerful, let me say, indication for leaders, because if you are a leader and you're having a team organization and see any dysfunction or anything that is not going as you would wish to, then the one of the questions that you want to ask yourself is, okay, how do I contribute here? Or where is that coming from inside of me? Where do I need to work on? Where it would effectively lead to some breakthroughs, transformations, first within, and then of course shifting the results from outside. So it's very powerful perspective and awareness.
Yes. Our other people around us, the team workers, etc., the clients, they truly mirror everything that's happening inside of us. Essentially, especially if, let's say, the business I run is my passion, so there are lots of focus, lots of energy will be there. Oh, every, excuse my language, shit that I haven't solved, or the unhelpful patterns or whatever, will in some way show up through clients' behaviors, buying patterns, etc. So, for instance, I recall I had a client whose agency was working with a big organization, but she came on the call and she said, Lenka, I have all of this interest, for metal, for this, for that, all of this or interest is there, but it's like nobody's buying, nobody's signing. There's like everyone is holding back. Everyone's waiting. What do I do? And I said to her, well, if you notice any pattern like this, that it's perpetual, it's other people are behaving like this again and again and again, then the first place to look at is us, because guarantee it will reflect something in us. So I asked her, okay, they're all waiting. Where are you waiting? Where are you not making the move forward? Waiting for better conditions, waiting for better time. Where are you holding yourself back from taking that next step, making that next decision? And oh boy, did she find a whole list, including she's been dreaming about selling her house and buying a dream house, but waiting for better conditions, etc. So that was her work. That was her work to actually stop waiting and become and mirror or experience you want to create. So she started using a courage to start thinking what she, where she essentially, I call it breaking this energetic pattern. So she stopped waiting there and she made the decision. She actually put that house on the market. After approximately 3 weeks, she went on holidays. And in that time, she got about 6 contracts signed. Her company has got 6 contracts signed, immediately putting her on 7-figure, business owner status, if you like. And her eyes was like, what the heck just happened? You broke the pattern that has been affecting everything in your business, leadership life without realizing. You internally changed. So of course, the experience that you have for others will shift as well. So this is how it works. And yes, I'll always direct first place you look at if you don't like behavior of others, or what you're noticing is as a pattern externally, look inside. The second place, if you're talking about this, is the projections, our projections onto others. It's essentially our belief system that we, through beliefs, we communicate and we almost like give instructions to how others should behave. So I work a lot with women in business. So they sometimes say, oh, you look, like I got this, you got amazing clients, but my clients, my audience, they don't respond. They don't engage. They don't read my emails. They don't buy. They don't want to invest in a higher level services. They just want everything for free. So I get it. This might be called a learned experience. Or is it because of some series, something happened. You started to project it. You started to unconsciously expect it and project onto those people, onto those mirror of your consciousness. So you better have a look. How do you perceive your coworkers, your team members, people that work for you, with you? Because it's almost like if you were going around and slapping cards on people's foreheads. And not only in a subtle way, our communications to them will adjust in that way. Not only they will start seeing themselves even more in that way, but it really affects their behavior over time. So that's a very common, if you like, the reflection I give to my clients. If this is your troubled area, really, really, let's have a look. What projections, or if you like, perceptions, how do you perceive others, you have, and let's clear them out, because you can create a whole new experience. But until you believe it is so, you're never going to change it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And it's the same. That was my realization years ago about this whole beliefs power, I would say, which we are so unconscious about, right? With having so many limiting beliefs in our subconscious mind from a childhood and all of that. My very first aha was an understanding the whole world 10 years ago. And that was when I understood how important it is to, for example, hold positive beliefs about other people that you lead. Yeah. To believe that they can, or believe that they are having a potential, or that they are great in something, has actually almost influenced the level of realization, the level of reaching the goals, the level of success. So that is a kind of very powerful.
I remember, this is years ago, and it's not a business examples, but it stays here and applies everywhere. One client on one of my seminars, she had a problem with the daughter. Basically, she was underperforming at school, and she said, she's lazy. She doesn't want to do any homework. She doesn't want to help out. She's rebelling, etc., etc. I don't know what to do with her. And these are all, when we recite our experience, these are all perceptions, which are valid. We have every right to make them, but again, if you want to support that child or anyone else, if you want to help them to change, these perceptions, which become projections, are not gonna serve us at all. So, right, how would you like to perceive her? What else is she beyond? What else is she? What else is she? So she started to look at her daughter as, a child full of potential, child that has got potential to help, to do well, etc., etc. So she put a different car on her forehead. And I remember about a couple of months later, she wrote me an email saying how profoundly this changed everything, not immediately, but little by little, how the communications changed, etc. To the point that she said, my daughter now asks me, where can I help you? She does her homework first, and her grades in school improved dramatically. Like massive change within a couple of months with just this single thing, changing perception about the child, and therefore projection, therefore adjusting the communication unconsciously, etc. So it's very, very relevant in leadership. And
powerful. And in your life, it's actually in all areas, right? In our relationships and so on as well. Yeah. I can recall many of those moments.
The most important perceptions and projections about ourselves, right?
Yes, that's the starting point, right? The narrative that we are actually telling ourselves about ourselves, which also is here so powerful. That's why I love this all transformational work from within, is with several examples that you mentioned, is so powerful, because that's the root was going to make a real impact and difference into success, into results, into everything that we seek. All those shifts that you are mentioning, right? All those shifts, either this is beliefs, or this is in assumptions, or this is in emotions, and all of that actually shift our energies. And I see it in front of my clients. I know it from my own work. That's an internal shift that we just feel inside when something is changed inside that that is reflected in our energy, as you mentioned, which is then communicating with other human beings and unleashing one or the other direction within the team or in relationships.
Yes. Little by little, of course, we shift one belief, we shift another belief, we shift another belief. Absolutely. It affects our energy and who we are. Yes.
And you mentioned about the belief about ourselves. Maybe here a very short moment for everybody that listen. What is so magical about this belief that we hold about ourselves?
Well, everything. That's absolutely everything, how we perceive ourselves and who we are. It's so easy to get stuck into seeing ourselves based on current results, current status, current everything. Like, this is who I am. And then we're stuck. Our thinking is stuck. Our creativity is stuck. Our problem solving is stuck. It works in that realm. So, it's crucially important to me to keep expanding that internal map of who we truly are. Because the truth is, we all are almost like a drawing, that internal map or internal representation of who we are. And just like the map of London, no matter how descriptive, it can never be the London itself. What we think we are, it can never be who we truly are. And who we truly are is this soul in the body, limitless creators in the body, pure magic, having a human experience. The possibilities that we have are truly limitless. So I love always to go there. And even just contemplating on the idea of infinity or limitlessness. Why anything is possible? Why anything is possible for me? Why anything is possible for me? Literally going beyond the logic. Going beyond the logic and opening our mind, because we have no idea, each and every one of us, no matter how much we check, what else is available to us in different areas of our lives. We have no idea. So much. But to open it up, to make it possible, to start the process, which, sure, I'm not saying the process is super easy at all times or anything like that. It's a process. But to open ourselves up to it and to activate that possibility, we've got to go there. So now I'm not just a woman who's got this and this and this. That's the current circumstances. I'm much more than that. Who I am. I'm the limitless creator. What does it mean? Why? Why is truly anything possible, etc., etc. So expanding that internal image is really quite, yes.
Yeah.
Can be life-changing. Been life-changing for me.
I think my very first version with that was that I am resourceful, opening the door and understanding that we have far more potential than what we are today. That's already a big realization, because then it opens the gate and straight and expand, and the curiosity follows. And the limitless, that's a very, that's also important.
May I add something? Because it's so easy to take this as, this is easier said than done. Because right now I got this issue, and what is it going to help me? I'd like to offer, if that's useful, a little bit more tangible way of how to this self-image and tapping into the higher mind, how we can apply to even the most urgent or working areas of our business or lives, organizations, etc. Because again, as I said before, most of us are so used to go into reactive consciousness about it. What do I need to fix this? What do I need to do so that it's better, or so that people buy? Absolutely use your logical mind. In fact, it's necessary at some point. But what we also want to do is to really visualize the outcome. And, well, in my words, align our energy with that. That solution. What does it mean is that rather than being, I've got to find the solution, acknowledging here that I'm bothered and it's not working and it's lack or it's mess or it's whatever, and I need solution. So from that energy, it's impossible to get the most potent solutions. It's impossible. Because the solutions that will get
current state, right? It's like
Right,
the same
current
mind created it, we also.
any solution or any idea that we receive from that state will give us more of that energy. So if I'm in a place of need and I'm like, how do I fix this? I don't want to have this anymore. I get it, the idea, but implementing that idea or solution will give me more of need. If I'm in place of lack, I'm praying, if you like, or thinking logically, whatever, how do I fix this? I don't want to have lack. Idea that, because the ideas and solutions and opportunities, etc., are always, always, always must be an energetic match for us to be able to receive it, right? So what is very, very important is that we even temporarily unstick ourselves from this reactive consciousness and from the consciousness of problem, and we go higher into on the opposite solution. What would solution feel like? What would that look like? What would be that outcome that I'm dreaming about? And just stay there. Wouldn't it be wonderful if? How would I feel? What would I see? What would I hear? Just stay there. And from there, you start asking yourself, simply acknowledging that every single problem has got at minimum 2 or more perfect solutions. Now, logically, I don't have that solution now, but I know it exists. And I'm opening myself for it to come in the perfect time. Whether it's now, in next 2 minutes, whatever. I know it exists. And I'm just going to now feeling it in my body. And from here, if already I created that which I choose, the solution or the energy of it, how would I choose to express it in the world today? How would I, from this place, what would I do? Not because but because I am this already. So we take information from that identity, self-identity, that is past that solution, that functions from different level of consciousness. So the exact solution may not come right away. Sometimes it takes days, sometimes weeks, but just allowing that energy of that solution or self-identity that comes with it enter our being and body, acknowledging that solution exists. And if there is a way, what would I choose to do now? Because I'd love to, because I've got that solution already. If something comes to us, then that's a sure way to be able to receive the ideas and solutions that are a perfect match to that ideal, if you like.
Yeah. I like this example because it helps to illustrate that basically, instead of getting in the stuck energy,
Yes,
stuck thinking and stuck energy, because they are equal, which then brings stuck solutions.
yes,
The same mind that created the problem cannot create the better solution than the same.
yes,
And instead, envisioning, right? That's the power of
yes,
envisioning as well. Envision that I love to
yes,
bring as well to my clients, and of course of myself, because this is where we, as you mentioned, opening up, but also tap into
yes,
that different possibilities and connect with a different energy as well, because we shift the state actually of being.
yeah, different possibilities.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's a big difference, in reactive consciousness, in the energy of problem is, I do things so that I can achieve something or I can fix something. When we tap into the higher mind and the far more possibilities, I do things or I choose things because I am that already. I'm acknowledging that possibly already exists.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah. And bring it to yourself as if it's already there. Actually,
Yes.
reading recently a book of Joe Dispenza, which you probably know, Breaking Pattern of Being Yourself, I think is the title.
Right.
It's so connected. Of course, you bring it from the quantum physics explanation, but it's there, as you mentioned, there's so many books around, or already awareness around energy does exist. And I think that's just another one.
Yes.
Very briefly, Lenka, you mentioned the word process. So just to leave the listeners on the top of, what's this process about of, building the capability to even access that part of self?
Well, I put this process intuitively into the 9th stage of becoming, if you like, is that that next version of self as a leader, mother, woman, creator, entrepreneur, etc. Or 9 stages of quantum leaping, where we want to go. It's all the same. But the very briefly, I'll mention those 9 stages. Is the first stage is, of course, the full activation, when we really, really claim the vision, whatever it might be, and make it our own. We exclude all the other possibility and we make it fully active within ourselves as this is who I am. And I'm becoming that woman. I'm surrendering to this version of myself almost. That activation opens our awareness. So we'll get new awareness. That's stage 2, if you like. So we'll start becoming aware, start getting idea from this place. What doesn't belong to my experience anymore? What do I need to let go? What do I need to start? Maybe the next steps, but with our new awareness opens up the new ideas, of course. Mm-hmm. Third stage is then based on that, we'll start making new choices. So, we might have some incredible ideas, but only some choices maybe we make. But okay, I'll decide that I am going to do X, Y, Z based on this new awareness. That's stage 3. Stage 4, I call quantum action. This is the type of action that is based on the new awareness and new choices. So it's completely aligned with the new self-identity in that vision. And I call it quantum action because typically and very often it really takes out outside of our comfort zone, beyond what is normal to us, beyond what is known to us. So it really is the first level of embodiment. Like, I'll do it even though I'm nervous, or I'll do it even though this is new to me, because I know it's right. It's aligned with the version of myself that I'm committed to become. So that's quantum action. So that's, if you like, stage 4. Stage 5 is what I call alchemical point or alchemical points. So these are the points of opportunity to shift and change something within us. And these alchemical points in our experience often come as challenges. So for instance, yes, you do something, you take some quantum action because you want to create something, and then the opposite comes. Let's say you want to create more abundance, the lack comes, or, something, challenges, drama in the family, sickness, or whatever it might be. But these challenges is not to test us, is not to do any of that crap, excuse my language. These are the opportunities, it's self-manifestations that will actually allow us to let go of some illusions we'll be holding on to that are keeping us very aware, and embrace something new, maybe a belief, maybe perspective, maybe whatever it might be. There's some gift in those. So we need to look at those as a gift. And it's so important, because I don't know any ultra successful and extraordinary leader who didn't experience at least one alchemical point.
Absolutely.
Right? And what is very, very important, even though we see these challenges, or this happens or that happened, that we don't, most people will go back to safety. Oh, that was not a good idea. It doesn't work. And all of this. No. So you learn from it what you need to learn, but you stay in that new identity and you take that next step, because you're committed. This is who I am. So you go into the next level of embodiment. That's stage 5. From there, as you keep functioning from that space, you start developing more, you start to stabilize in the new energy, new consciousness, if you like. So there is a stabilization period. And then there is a period of, if you like, certainty or knowing. This is like, no matter what, no matter how much evidence and success you reaped through this process, or no matter how little, you cannot do anything to turn it around. Everything is changing, because you're stabilized already. And from there comes the 9th stage, which is becoming, manifestation, quantum leap, whatever it might be. So yes, this is a simplified model, and it depends on the degree of change, how long this process is. It's purely individual, but roughly speaking, these are the internal processes we'll go through that really, really can take us from wherever we are to our greatest vision for ourselves, our company, and people we are.
And I absolutely love it, I must say. I inspired myself to bring it also to my clients, because basically it is a process of becoming. And that's
Yes.
where you mentioned so many times is about, we are so much in this operandum of doing more. And at some moment it's too much. So we start to question ourselves, okay, how can we continue? And the higher you climb the ladder, the more things you have on the agenda. So the doing or just this will not give you basically sustainable results and a possibility to be further successful. And this process that you described is all about becoming your next level self and the next version of yourself. So it's so beautiful. So Lenka, there's so much, gold in this conversation, so much that, we could probably create 10 of those episodes around the topic. And I love your passion about it and dedication as well. And again, thank you very much, for expanding my awareness and into this work and helping me, of course, to walk this process as well. What a leader that listening to us today, if the person is interested into starting any of this work, what would be your recommendation? What is the first?
The best start is possibly the book, Energetic Selling and Marketing. Even though, yes, it's about energetic entrepreneurship, there's a whole lot for business leaders. And yes, my website is lenkalutonska.com. So there are various resources there.
Thank you very much, Lenka. It was an honor to have you here today. Thank you very much for sharing about everything what you do about the big world of energy as well. And I'm wishing you a fantastic day, and I will see you soon.
Likewise, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
I hope you enjoyed through this conversation and take a lot with yourself. And above all, are inspired into exploring more about this higher state of consciousness and creating whatever you want with more ease and joy. And if you would like to bring that into your leadership, be guided in this journey of how to elevate your consciousness up into this higher mind and become truly an extraordinary leader, then I invite you to check my latest program, which is called Transform from Within and Embody the Extraordinary Leader, which integrates practices that we expanded on today in this episode. So, leaving you with a lot of food for thought. Subscribe to this channel, share with other leaders so that we can expand and reach more leaders. And I'm wishing you a fantastic day and see you soon with the change that you want to see.